Welcome back, everyone. It's time to see even more for the Winter Champions Invitational as presented by LOS Champs. And also, shout out to League OS for powering this tournament and, of course, getting everyone together. Logistics are tough, especially with a lot of, esports players and especially high school students. But we appreciate all of you out there being able to be with us, and make sure for all of you out there that are students, go to your college portal profiles and update them, because all these recruiters that want to be able to see more can go to portal.leagueos.gg to see all your stats and maybe bring you on to that next level of competition. But Chixa, we just got to see round number 1. We're going to see round number 2, a small repeat of competitors, but we're bringing in another one.
Yeah, it's again going to be kind of a Lima Shawnee versus now our Deer Creek, Oklahoma team, which is arguably the team that we're most excited, or I don't want to say like most excited, but the highest ranking average roster that we have today. So it's a action-packed match for sure. But yeah, Lima Shawnee we just saw in our previous matchup, and they took all the way to game number 3 against West Catholic, but won in very convincing fashion in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun squad and, of course, a fun matchup to watch. I think, personally, that this is a preview of the championship for this Winter Champions Invitational. I know, maybe I'm just talking out the wrong side of my face, but I really think it will be. But there's a lot of seniors on this squad in the way of Das Pay and SCX, so we'll get to see exactly how those seniors all act together, which means they have a lot of maybe future academics in their own eyes to go for. But game number 1, another best of 3, and another setup for you guys at home to enjoy. Let's get into it. It's Lima Shawnee and Deer Creek.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't remember, the Lima Shawnee team roster it's GC2, GC1, and GC2 respectively. And then, as we mentioned, on the other end of the field, SCX is our GC3, our highest ranking player of the entire tournament, about 1,800. And then Pei and DOSX both GC1, GC2 range. So very impressive talent coming out of Oklahoma. And then, we'll see if Shawnee can show that, MR, it isn't anything, especially with the win they just had.
No, if that is true, that gives me hope on the horizon. You're talking about, being washed a little bit and seeing great students. Well, sometimes it'll help me go back and play the game at least a little bit. Pei with the setup. And our first major stint of offense here for the Deer Creek Antlers, as they at least get on the upward side of the pitch. But the other side of this as well is Lima Shawnee. They were very motivated to have to get back in the driver's seat of their previous series and really shut down West Catholic. So kind of expecting their offense to do exactly what it is now. And we may see very low scoring, at least kind of setups here into this best of 3, simply because both teams are that good.
Yeah, defense becomes more and more of a factor as you go up in those ranks, especially speaking just the rotations and the challenges. You're not going to see as many opportunities. In fact, I'd argue we don't see as much mechanics out of either roster, because at this point, Flashy isn't what does what it needs to do in these matches. Set up a good passing play, set up a solid demo play, whatever it is up field, and chances are just a rolling shot will go on in, and that'll do the work.
Yeah, and some of the mistakes that may end up developing will be glaring only because of the high level that they're already playing at, and it just looks so much more exposed because they'll be going at it so much quicker. That is an attempt by Bob as Pei is able to get an extension, but now I believe this is Scar. I think that's the same person of SCX, so we're going to go with Scar now. It's a really cool name. I like the edgelord stint that goes to it. Pei on the upfield keep, and it's been more than 2 minutes, and now we got a rule 1. Hey, we're going into duos now.
2-on-2. This is where mechanics certainly come on out, looking towards Shock and Scar respectively on either team to show something. Shock sets it up here, doesn't have much of a boost, does fall down on it, but Scar, a great challenge. The corner bounce won't do him any favors. The pass a little bit too far to DOS, where he gets the 50 win. Can Shock get there in time? He does just that. Sidewall. Shock, the musty flick to Cab, maybe a little bit extra than what was needed, and DOS can't find the touch either, but I think bumps the other two out of that row 1.
You know what? That one is not one of those that you would kind of boo from the crowd about, because that was inadvertent. They ended up catching the ball, going to the corner, and did it in rotation. So we go from rule 1 back to true 3v3, and Shock was one of the greater weapons we saw in that previous series, and I was thinking that maybe they would be the stronger of that 2v2 kind of setup. I'm waiting for the developed identity from the Deer Creek Antlers to really come out and shine, and at this point it's been pretty even both defensively and offensively, having to account for doubled up saves out of the Antlers, and now they're getting their offense standing up. Shock just doesn't even mind. He catches that straight at his post, but Scar is trying to set up Pay, and they get denied.
Wow, Shock again coming through in the last second to find that save, but he better get ready for a couple more, because here comes more pressure again from this Deer Creek squad. Scar off the corner. Doesn't find the bounce. Cab, a huge clear. Scar to be back. Sends it off the side wall with so much power behind it. Picks up some of that boost, but can't do much more. This one cleared all the way on out for Shock to pick up. Beat 1. Can he beat Scar as well? They're kind of in a one-on-one. Can't get the pass, though, as the team, they'll pinch that through, and I don't even know if Bob was ready. 45 seconds. 0 goals on both ends of the field. This is the level of gameplay we're at.
This is not surprising, but the finisher might be for Lima Shawnee. Pay ends up coming off the wall, having a bailout. They call up one. Doss can't connect, but you got to leave it in Scar's trusty hands to move this one upfield. They get Bob bouncing, and Bob had no boost. Scar looking for the put away, but they can't find a connection, and now Bob on an island, a side pass. Instead of going for a direct line shot, they're trying to elongate this offensive, give themselves a chance to rotate further, and overtime could be brewing. Pay is able to keep at least an ounce of it upfield, and Bob is just looking to get the clear to the backboard. Maybe a finisher as it floats. It's denied by Pay. We go to 0-second time. Cab with a set. Oh, a bullet time the other direction. Chicksa, we're in OT.
Yeah, super impressed. A little bit disappointed, though, I gotta say, in Scar. He just bombed that ball towards the backboard instead of being a little bit more patient and getting it through. Here's a 2-on-1, though. Scar looking to bump the likes of Bob, and Pay takes advantage.
Sometimes you don't have to have the greatest mechie play. It's just about positioning, and Scar was smart being able to be that front line attacker. So, taking a lone score early here in OT. Deer Creek Antlers, LT game number 1, but this was 7-8. Everyone trying to fill those different roles, and this was as close as you could really get, Chicksa.
Yeah, I think overall it was a back and forth series, one that kind of was very unsure of who would kind of come up on top, but it comes off of just a single opportunity that, sometimes goes the way of, goes the way of one side or another.
Yeah. So I was looking for who would kind of be that front runner for Deer Creek. We got to see really how that was kind of being manifested in real time for us out of both West Catholic and Lima Shawnee in our previous series. Scar seems to be that person, that mainstay player that will get them to go in the right direction. And if they can't score it for them, they'll be able to rotate in and rotate out and get it going the right way for them. So I think that this one is going to be kind of a breakout game number 2. We get more into kind of those setup plays, but I was not too surprised, but seeing how Lima Shawnee kind of was stuck to their walls, their back to the wall. Got to see if they can be able to bust out and get some of those passing plays that they're more well known for.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of adjustments that both teams could make. Again, this is probably their first time even remotely playing against one another, which brings into account of, who am I against? How do I go against them? What's the strategy? If they have a coach, do they talk to the coach for a minute, tell them to calm down? I think there's a lot of complexity to this match that both teams are going to kind of have to figure out as they go throughout the series and go throughout the day.
Let's see if those direct on-point passing play connections that Lima Shawnee wanted so much to be able to get developed here. Scar Great pick. But that's going to go to corner, and Shock is going to use up all their boosts and then get demoed for their efforts as they bring this to a tight side corner. And that's a big win by DOSX, who was looking for maybe one more. Shock will respawn and then be in chase and have to work against that #1 point man of Scar, who they take it past. They're already sweeping the goal line, and I like the physicality we are getting out of Lima Shawnee.
Yeah, I think both teams have, again, adapted throughout this series, throughout the day, to figure out what is going to be better off. And we saw, again, the 2-on-1 situation at the end of that play, kind of in that overtime being a bump play essentially set up. And that can do a lot to opening up ways to be able to get it in the back of the net.
Big demo. Scar getting rid of Shock, and Scar getting rid of the back linesman, and this returned in kind. Can the defender find a win? No! Pay! They had a payday set in front of them. This had to win a 50-50, and they came out 100%.
Really good patience from Pay to make sure that ball stays underneath the crossbar, and then the follow-up 50. So well played out through every aspect of this one, and again, good start for Deer Creek. It took them a while to get things going in game one, and now instead, Lima manages to get this one in the back of the net, and a great shot by Cab.
That's a great let go. Shock with the set, end up recognizing they couldn't get to it. They called Cab's number, and they made an expeditious entry and exit as they're able to lay that one underneath the cross. So finally getting something on the board. I mean, I know it was a 1-0, but you feel like you gotta get something on this scoreboard if you're Lima Shawnee. Both squads don't want to fall too far behind. Scar with the back pass, looking for the set to Pay, and they cast Shock on their feet.
Ooh. Pay again. The second strike to come on through. Scar, I think, really takes away most of the attention on that play, especially from the defense. You have to wonder, is he going to pinch that ball when it touches the ground? Is he going to go for a flip reset? He has so many different facets available to him with the mechanics that we've seen him bring to the table, but it's just hard to defend against a Scar shot or a Pay finish. And in this case, Pay takes advantage of really the defense looking straight at Scar.
Shock is starting to look like a pogo stick that has a mind of its own as he's bouncing all over the place. Wants to replicate some of the things that he's seen before. A great shot, but an even greater defensive effort as DOSX able to make that read. Oh, and diving at it. Cab, they just get denied. DOSX defensively very, very sound and very poised. A lot of players would make a mistake in that moment, but instead now this offense runs out of gas, and it's going to be Lima Shawnee that has to receive Deer Creek.
I'm again surprised, shocked, well, you know, bewildered at times, if you dare, to see how things have been going between these two. A lot more punches being thrown on both sides, but still stellar defense overall for the majority of it. Good shot here. This one may almost cost off guard, but saved at the last second by Scar. Now Pay. Sidewall. Shock. Sidewall as well. Trying to get something started. Does get the pass down. Want to touch the bump as well, but Pay's in the way. Oh, Shock was doing his best to get something going, but Scar on the transition finds it through.
I loved the second and tertiary, and if it's a word, quadrary, extra bumps. They were lining up, and it was just knocked out, and that's kind of the all-in home run attempt right there. So with 100 seconds to go, it's been 2 in a row now for the other side as Deer Creek wants to cement themselves as a top seed through this round robin situation. Lima Shawnee, they got their first win off West Catholic, trying to crash the gate. Oh, and old Ironsides is clanging loud. They couldn't get through.
Shock. I think all eyes on him at this point to try to get something going for Shawnee, but unfortunately, I think all momentum favors right now the side of Deer Creek. Pay putting on his 5th shot and a hat trick at that, as 3 of them have gone on in. Pay has been on fire this game, and deservedly so.
DOSX and Scar, you know what? We've been able to call their names several times, but it's been the Pay show. And this is not pay-per-view because you're seeing it live and loud for free. Pay doing everything they need to, and then they finally find at least one each of Dos Equis and Scar, but the damage has been done. To get 3, you're going to have to score each in less than 20 seconds, or at least the first 2 within that minute. A back pass to anyone. They get a demo. It's going to be Scar that takes out Shock, and that's not the player you want off the field if you're Lima Shawnee.
More demos, both on Shock and Gab. Kind of crazy to notice how much pressure the Deer Creek squad keeps on putting on DOS to clear up field. All he has to do, Scar, an early jump, gets the touch. Pay in midfield. Scar, another demo onto Shock. DOS to keep the pressure going. Bob a miss, and Shock only able to get that clear out. Gab, a great follow-up, though. I didn't think anybody was there on the passing outlet, but it goes on through.
Crazy enough here, Chixa. Winnable. A great find as they're able to find the widest angle. Now you just have to score, and there must be any time on the clock. It's just going to be a wild turn of events. Do they play for possession? They don't win it, but Shock all the way to Bob. They're trying to key up Shock the killer, but no, that may kill just enough time. And Shock and Bob going for the same exact play. Where is Cab? He's all the way back, had to rotate for boost, and that will be a 2-0 sweep in favor of the Antlers. Deer Creek take it. Lessons to be learned. There's a lot of control and offense coming out of Deer Creek.
Yeah, Pay said you better pay up. He's going to win. And this one, outstanding effort overall by Deer Creek. I think they showed the dominance that they bring to the table. Certainly a favorite, as we mentioned, as we'll go throughout the day. A team that has done well already to start, and I think will continue to do well throughout this tournament. But I want to know, what are your other thoughts, Hale?
I mean, right now, you're definitely seeing, we try not to super highlight when it comes to rank differential, but Scar was really kind of the maestro that was setting up a lot of what Deer Creek was doing right. Shock kind of was that guy, that player that was doing the same thing for Lima Shawnee, and as soon as they were shut down, it just all went wrong. But there's so much coming up in another round of this Winter Champions Invitational. Can the main game players play the game the main way? We'll be able to find out more. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a moment.